Spartan Nation, what's up? What up, doe? Cue the woodshed back in the building. I'm Ken, the super cool Spartan. My brother Brian, the super mad Spartan. Cue the woodshed doing our week 1 review of those fighting John Smiths known as the Michigan State Spartans. What's going on, super mad Spartan? What you got for us?
Can't even call it, man. We here. We had our first week down. I'm excited to talk about it. We'll see how this review goes, and we'll see how we think about next week and where our fighting Spartan dogs are at.
Yes. As they say in the world of football, the goal is to go 1-0 every week, 1-0 every week. And,
Yeah, we went one and
luckily
zero. We
we
won.
went 1-0.
We won.
Yep.
That's about the first half, second half, but
Yeah.
we won.
Yeah. It wasn't as pretty as, most of the fan base, I'm sure, wanted. They wanted to see a blowout, 48-0 or 50-0, 55-3, something like that. But it didn't go down like that. It was 23-6, victory over those fighting Broncos, Western Michigan Broncos. We got love for them because our parents went there. So,
Yes,
we don't disrespect the Broncos. We got Broncos in our family, but we're Spartans. So what can we say? Glad we got the victory.
110%.
Glad we
Yes,
got the
sir.
victory. So let's just hop right into it. Like I said, we got a new format here, so we're still tweaking things here in our third season here, doing Cue the Woodshed. So we're doing a mashup here of our good Sparty, bad Sparty segment here. That's gonna do a mix and match here to keep the show flowing. We'll start everything with off good. I'll just get right into it. I think the top things for me was that no turnovers by Aiden Child specifically. He didn't throw any
Well,
picks.
no
Didn't.
interceptions.
Yes, he didn't
There's a
throw any
turnover.
interceptions.
No
Yeah, there was a
interceptions.
turnover. There was a turnover, but no picks that he threw. No fumble. He didn't fumble the ball.
He did fumble
Overall. Oh, he did
twice.
fumble? Okay.
We lost
Okay.
one and we recovered one. He fumbled twice.
Okay, well, I take that back. He threw
Oh,
zero
okay. So
interceptions, and
yes,
he
zero
had some
interceptions
fumbles that were recovered by the offense.
and lost one. It yes. We get into it because I think Aiden Childs is the one of the big um rallying cries in the fan base. Not rallying cries,
Uh-huh.
excuse me. Just there's a message board thing going on about Aiden Childs and perception if he's good or bad. On my favorite message board where I'm a part of, Red Cedar message board. Shout out to Charlene. They there's a discussion about Aiden Childs as the quarterback that I thought was
Uh-oh.
very unfair. Is
Uh-oh.
they don't a lot of people are not on board with them. Okay, a lot is not the right term. There's a good amount of the fan base that is questioning if he's the quarterback going forward. And for record, I don't feel that way. I thought the game was fine for Aiden Childs. I think in totality, there's more positives and negatives from this game, but that second half was so brutal. Like it was just it felt too much like last year. I know we're supposed to be doing good Sparty, so I'll keep on a good. Like you said, no turnovers. I don't think Aiden Childs threw any pass that was questionable, and if he didn't put the ball in danger throwing the ball at all in this game. I thought you saw, for me, I watched the game twice. He was he looked very mature out there with his decision making, and I think that is part of the game plan. Just do it. Don't try to do too much. Do your job, and he did that. But I think that was also part of people's problems.
Mm, mm.
We'll get to that in
Uh,
bad Sparty part.
yeah. Fascinating, fascinating there. So, in addition to that, I thought the O line overall looked good, especially with the running game because um, I can't recall, forgive me, who the main running back was, but I think he had over
Ty
100
Frazier.
yards and a touchdown. Okay, okay, Frazier. He looked really good. He looked really good, had over 100 yards rushing, scored a TD, and the O line, they look much improved compared to last year. Of course, there are a couple of breakdowns here and there, where they did get to Aiden and sacked him a couple times, but overall, to your point, you were talking about
Four
how,
sacks.
man, I feel like we weren't even, maybe was I at the bathroom or something was when I was missing these other sacks. Maybe
No,
I was
because
just too
okay,
distracted watching the jumbotron or something. I don't
no,
remember
the
two
last
sacks.
no, there was definitely four. Uh,
They're all on
so
Childs. Like they have sacked him 4 times.
yes, on Childs 4 times. All right,
Man,
so we went to the game. Me and my brother went to the game because we would have had a
yes, we
podcast
was
out
at the
earlier about
game.
reaction. We were at the game, but we left near the beginning,
Halfway to
like
the fourth
10 minutes
quarter.
left in the game, fourth quarter. So I went back and rewatched the game. So after we left, uh, they drive the field and get to the red zone, and the backup running back Tullis misses a blitz, and Aiden Childs gets blindsided and fumbles. So there's a sack
Oh my
fumble that
god.
we didn't see in person, but it was definitely in the game. So remember we were leaving, we heard a big and that was that.
Yeah. Oh well, damn. Okay.
They got to
Okay.
rewatch that
Well.
game, Kenny. Like that wasn't his fault. Um, it, yeah, you can't get blindsided. You got to pick up that block. You got to give him a second. But let's keep going on because I good Spidey, bad Spidey. I give my overall view a little bit later on, but let's good Spidey. We're on the positives right now.
Yes, positive. So O line overall looked good. D line overall looked good. I like the fact that it was getting to that backfield, something that was missing, the second half of last season. So it's good to see, get some kind of pass rush back there, sack the QB. I would say overall, uh, for this first game, looked very much improved. MSU, for the most part, from start to finish, they were in command of that game over Western, especially compared to last year's game and opener where we were all on pins and needles. I
Came
mean,
down
it
to the last
was
possession,
like,
damn near.
yes, yes. So, last year's game and opener compared to this year's, like night and day for real. So,
Well, sort of,
all right, sort of.
sort
But
of. They're more positives than negatives.
yes, okay, well, let's say that more positives than negatives.
There we go.
So let's get to the negatives. We already said some. 4 sacks. Nope. No, you can't do that. What's
I
some
would just
other
say the whole
ones?
second half
Superman
offense.
Spartan.
The whole second half
Yeah, that
offense
was allowed.
negative. You
Yeah.
the only points that were scored were a safety by the defense, and I think this is where the biggest uh,
Indictment.
discussions are taking place on the message board is that second half
Okay.
because now there are reasons for why they didn't score, and none of them are going to be good enough for anybody. Now I'm level headed and I've had time to think about it, but I still feel so very disappointed by that second half of the game. Like started off good, we put 21 points on the board, offense looked like it's humming, running game's going just smoothly. It looks like how we would have loved for opening game to be in the first half. Second half, not so much. 0 points, turnovers. And the problem with that second half, it was so very reminiscent of last season where we'd come out in the first half and look decent enough. The score be usually be we be in the game. Second half, nothing. Absolutely, just couldn't do anything, and we saw that again. And that's a horrible taste in your mouth. And I can understand why that fan base was kind of
They're kind of panicking a
eating
little
its
bit.
own. And so they talked about, the biggest one that people talked about were the O line and Aiden Childs. Now the O line, I thought in the first half dominant. Second half, a little bit, a lot left to be desired. And part of it is that they shuffled a bunch of guys in and out. They ran about for the whole game. I think it was like 10 different O line combinations. In the second
Oh,
half, they're
okay.
just kind of experimenting around. Okay, I understand that, but it's the 0 points that
Hmm.
hurts. And Aiden Childs, people were not very impressed with his numbers. Um, they weren't impressed by him because they didn't have the wild play. But and this is my opinion. There are about 3 plays that if they go differently, we're not even having this discussion about Aiden Childs. If they score in the second half and they don't have that turnover, okay. He connects because there was a pass where I think it was in the first half, I remember the second half. Childs breaks the pocket. He goes to the outside. He's scrambling. He has Krishan McCray open down the field. He throws it and he kind of out throws him. We connect on that. He scored a touchdown. His numbers look way better. We're not talking about anything.
Hmm.
Now, where I would defend Childs is that people talking about he was wildly inaccurate. I believe he was 17 for 25. So he missed 6 passes,
Yeah, he was
17 for
like
23,
18 to
something like that.
25, 18 for 25 for like 163
Yeah,
yards
the yardage
total
is
and
not good.
one
Now,
TD.
I can say the yards per play is not good. But he was checking down, and but again, he didn't get, there was nothing there I could say, oh, he threw a horrific pass of the team. Now, this whole thing in the message board about him being inaccurate, I'm like, oh, it's hard to say he's inaccurate and he's throwing, he threw for 70, he's 75% accurate, according to the numbers. Now, was some passes he missed? Yes, there is. I can think about 3 passes where, okay, yeah, they could have been better passes. We're talking about 3. The other ones, all right, well, a couple were drops. Like, okay, well, I don't understand oh, he's so inaccurate type deal because he didn't connect on the deep ball. Now, the other side of that argument is that, well, last season, his deep ball percentages past a certain yardage point was not very good. So these are still things that we're trying to see.
Hmm.
But it was, again, the second half was just so very disappointing.
Yeah, I had some of my college buddies, they text me talking about, this team. I got a good feeling about this team. And, I don't know. I don't know, Ken. This team, I don't know. I got a bunch of I don't know text messages. So,
But that's fair.
yeah, it's fair. It's fair. I mean, I guess it depends on what lens you look at this game, because if you look at it from the perspective of, yeah, we should have ran the score up, we should have, beat the hell out of Western, and maybe we should have. I don't know. Um, would have been nice to see that. Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, yeah, it would have been nice for MSU to score, I think, at least one more touchdown in the second half, just to calm those nerves, from last year. Because let's face it, and I think we talked about this last year. The Spartan fan base, I mean, I would say with this past almost 10 years, I guess, since we went to the playoff, we're a pretty scarred fan base. I mean, let's just be honest.
Yes.
MSU's
Losing.
a pretty scarred fan base. We've had more losing seasons than winning seasons. And you get to a point where there's a lot of apathy and, vitriol and whatever other, negative word you can think of about
Ken, to
the,
be
the
clear,
fan base.
I don't think this is about Michigan State, but from outside looking in, we're damn near a Big Ten bottom feeder. Like that's where we're at as a program. We are one step below being a bottom feeder, irrelevant nobody, and that's what's causing a lot of apathy in the Spartan Nation. People are
Yeah,
tired of
I can
losing,
agree with that. I can agree with that.
tired of losing it, and we can. And that's the biggest thing. We can dissect all this stuff to a blue. Jonathan Smith has to win games. That's it, and that's all. And I
No, I
understand the
agree.
style
I
points versus
agree.
Western, and that's it. Now there have been some concerns, and I think most of them are about. I think people are taking a little bit too far before the first game because we played Western. We know when we listen to Jonathan Smith and the guys that they in the second half they kind of throttled it down, went very vanilla, all the cliches. But guess what? No one really cares. They wanted to see people. They wanted Michigan State to dot that I and cross that T and get Western up out of here and look pretty doing it, and that didn't happen.
No, it didn't. It didn't. And I'm not taking away, whatever people is feeling about it. I get it. I understand. The our podcast, we channel, the fandom, the good, the bad, the ugly. So I understand. But, there are so many different lenses you can look at this game. Our dad came with us to the game. And when I was talking to him about the game on Sunday, because he asked me my opinion, and he said, our father, he's pretty, shout out to dear old dad. He's pretty level headed. He can look at things from about 5 different angles. He can see stuff that we may not even see. So he was just saying that maybe it was by design for the second half, somewhat, that the offense really didn't produce as much as they did in the first half. And maybe to what you were saying about Brian, with them shuffling different players in and out.
Hits the
Maybe
line
this, maybe
100%.
Jonathan Smith was like, okay, we pretty much did our thing in the first half. We probably could dominate, Western, but let's just see, what we got in terms of our personnel right now. And maybe he also was like, I don't want to show too much because of our next upcoming opponent. I'm just, of course, we're fans. I don't, we're not in the locker room or anything. We're not in the film room with the team, so we don't know what's going on. So, these are things that, like I said, that our father had pointed out. So who knows? Would have been great to see MSU, put up more points the second half on the offense? Most definitely. For sure. Like I said, I would have loved to see them at least score maybe one more touchdown and say, okay, we put a stamp on this. Let's roll out, the second string, third string, let them get a little play in, and then be done with it. It didn't happen, and now we're on to the next game. But
On
like I said,
to
I see,
Boston
I
College.
see all, I see all angles. I understand all the points. I understand, but from what perspective, the fan base is coming from that apathetic, overview. Because yeah, MSU pretty much is, in the realm of what like the Rutgers and the Marylands, and
Those are our
so
peers.
I get it.
Like it's such a thing like that. Like, oh, we're better than them. Are we better than them? That's our peer group right now. But yeah, yeah. He just I
It's
like to
frustrating. It
think
is.
it's very frustrating, and that's the biggest part for me. I try to be level headed about it. And oh, I think they're going a little bit too far, some of Aiden Childs, but a lot of the criticism is fair. You would like to have seen him be a lot more smooth, fair, unfair. And just as a fan, this is what you would like to see. Now, I'm gonna go on record and say I still think Aiden Childs is the quarterback. I still think he's the future. I still think he's very, very good because again, in that game, he makes some passes that are very difficult cross field look very easy.
Yeah, he does.
And so he has an arm. and people are questioning, does he have between years? Is he his mechanics? We're going to see. This is still the first game. There's still a lot of transfers. There are reasons why it didn't look as smooth. They could, my understanding, the coaching staff treated that game or second half a lot as like preseason. This is a preseason football game like the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna go out there. We're gonna do a few things that we know we can do, work on, and then we're gonna go out there and run some of our regular stuff. Then we're just gonna just practice. And the second half looked like a bad practice. And while we're always talking focus on offense, I forgot to do this in the goods party. The defense was dominant. It looked the way you would want your defense to look versus an overmatched team.
100%. 100%. Like I said, I was glad to see them get in that backfield, and really blow up the Western's quarterback. I don't know how many yards they held Western for running, because it seemed like
It
Western's
was
doing more
low.
passing plays than running plays. But just
I mean,
the fact that they was getting to the backfield, that's what I really liked.
we shut down the run, and outside of some really nice passes from the Western quarterbacks, probably about three like long passes. But our DBs, the cornerbacks, were stride for stride. They were there. You know that was their offense. They
Mm-hmm.
threatened a couple of times in close to the red zone. Fourth down, the state they rose up to the challenge. So it's only Western, but that bodes well for the future. And but Boston College is going to be a big test. I hate to say this so early in the season because I think like we're going to use this term many times. Boston College is basically turned into you better win for the fan base. You better win, and you better win looking like something.
Hey, I agree. That's why I
And that's
marked
where
it
I'm at
as
too.
a yeah. That's why I
That's
marked it as this is revenge game number one.
you, you know, I
When I looked at the calendar, I did see. I mean, there's not that too many games like that on the schedule, but for me, I marked this as revenge game number one. This is a game that we could have won last year. We should have won
should have
last year,
won.
but we didn't. So now this is your chance to get back at them.
They got to come on and look dominant. Well, okay, not dominant. That's a little hyperbole. They have to look like a football team. Boston College is a team we should beat. We are at home. They have a new quarterback. They're breaking in some new pieces. We're the more established program in terms of recruiting right now. We ACC, Big Ten, they're Boston College is probably a mid tier, near bottom feeder. ACC, I think the Big Ten top to bottom is better than ACC. This is the game we have to come out, and it has to look more like the first half of Western than anything else. Do I expect them to score 30 points? Honestly, I have no clue what we're going to see on Saturday. I don't know what state team is going to show up. I, I
Ah.
I don't have a feel for it. Like I like Jonathan Smith, I like the direction of the program, but we gotta start seeing results. Because to be clear, and this is another thing I was thinking about this, like why was I so irritated by the Western game? Like this is no different from a bunch of D'Antonio openers that we had in the past. But D'Antonio's not here anymore, obviously. So it's frustrating because what's the last big game Michigan State won?
Hmm.
The last big game, like what's the last like really good team Michigan State beat? And it's gonna sound sad, probably that 2021 Michigan team. That's probably the last big victory Michigan State has had in football.
Yeah, I would say that. And I was gonna
It's 4
say,
years ago.
uh, yeah, I would say at first I was gonna say when they played Pittsburgh in the bowl game that year, but
No,
they weren't. Yeah, not everyone was playing that game, so yeah, I'll say Michigan.
no.
Yeah, I'll say Michigan in 2021.
And that sucks. And and, and that's where we're at. But let's just preview Boston College and let's go for it.
Yep.
I could get
Boston
ramped up and
College.
juiced up and talk
Yep.
about
Yep.
that for a long time.
Like I said, this is revenge game number one that I marked on the schedule. Um, yeah, this is a game that I think MSU should win. Just from last year, because I actually read an article, I think earlier today, about how Jonathan Smith has already talked to the team, or they've already started, prepping for Boston, and they had that bad taste in their mouth from last year, which they should, because again, this was
Four
a
turnovers
very,
should have won that game.
yes, because this was a game that probably could have gotten you to a bowl game at least, because if
Not
you went against,
probably. They, that's 6 games. They go 6-6.
oh yeah, you're right, that's a game that could have won, got into the at least the quick lane bowl or something, but they've earmarked this game from what the article I read today. So they definitely have some emphasis on it. So we'll just see what happens, on the field. But it's another night game, and Spartan Stadium should be rocking, should be rolling. Everyone should be hungry and mad like you, super mad Spartan, going to that game with red eyes, because we need to win this game, like you said.
They absolutely have to win the game. I'm looking at Boston College. They played the Fordham Rams last week
Fordham,
against the FCF school. They beat them 66-10.
Fordham. Oh my
Now,
God. 66-10. Yeah.
now it's hard to judge that game because obviously Fordham's a FCF school. They're overmatched. You you don't really know what you're gonna get because it's like they always play the high school team. One thing that kind of stands out to me about that game. Now, the quarterbacks, they threw for like 458 yards. Their running game was not good, to the tune of a team total of 98 rushing yards. And they
Damn.
averaged, as a team, according to ESPN, 2.6 yards a carry.
Wow.
Now,
What? Damn. Our running
I
back outran their entire running backfield in the
yes,
Western game.
so it looks like they might have an issue running the football. Again, it's game one. We don't know. There might be mitigating factors to that, but it's something to keep the eye on because even last season, our defense was good at stopping the run. So if you can make a team one dimensional, that always helps.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is our defensive back stuff pretty good? We will find out.
I
They
guess we're gonna
looked
find
the
out.
defense as a whole. The defense as a whole looked like a good operation. So I don't know. But I would assume Boston College is going to try to establish the run, establish something in the game. And their quarterbacks, they both had great games. I mean, like I said, 458 yards total. Looked like the
Mm-hmm.
starter went 26 or 34, 268 yards, 4 touchdowns. So, that piece looks
Oh
good
yeah,
for
they was
them
having a field
versus
day. A
FCF school. So
nobody.
I don't know.
A
That's
damn
like
nobody.
judging Michigan State last year versus Prairie View. Yeah, we ran a score up on them, but obviously, we
It was,
weren't
yeah.
the best of teams last year. All that being said, all the statistics, all this and that, you already know we got to win this game.
Yes, win, baby, win. That's just no bottom line. Gotta get this win, boys. Gotta get that win. Because once you get out of non-conference, I mean, pretty much you're halfway there.
That's the thing, and this is a different discussion for another day. Just scheduling. I'm not saying Boston College is a team we shouldn't schedule. They're a I would prefer that we play P4, at least one P4 school in our non-conference schedule to see like, hey, where do we stack up versus supposedly similar talent? But I would always want to try to stack the deck and get 3, 4 easy victories as much as I could.
Oh yeah, like
Because if
that
you
team
have,
down the
and this,
road.
I mean, and everybody kind of does. Well, to a certain extent, everybody does it. The SEC is really good at, hey, we're not playing. Our non-conference is going to be completely nothing. Some
Right.
games this weekend that took
And they
place
play
that
non-conference games on the back end of their schedule.
you know what? There's nothing wrong with having a bye week within the season, additional bye week.
Right. Well, I don't know. I mean, not to get too far, but I don't know. The Crimson Tide. But anyway, we'll get back on track here a little bit. But yes, bottom line is, like I said, this is revenge game number one. They don't have what's my man's name who's at Florida State now,
Castellanos,
Castellanos. I mean, shout out to him. I mean, he definitely blew up Alabama's spot. So hey, shout out
yeah.
to him doing his thing against them at Florida State. But
Interesting enough of Castellanos, he kind of had a sour leaving of Boston College. They weren't really sad to see him go. Supposedly at the end of the season, he was a locker room cancer guy. Addition by subtraction now, so they're happy with the
mm-hmm.
QBs they have, and so we will see. He looked like a great playmaker with the Florida State when they beat Alabama this past weekend.
Right.
But again, Boston College needs to be a victory. I'm gonna keep on saying it. It has to be a victory. I don't care what any statistics we bring up. It got to be a dub at the end.
Right. It don't matter if it's 30-28 or 5-2,
I hope not 5-2, but I'll take
10-6.
a victory.
Yes, a win's a win, and we need wins.
That's all that
So
matters.
that's all that matters. All that matters. So, all right, Super Mad Spartan. I said last week, I'm breaking our new segment here. This is your hot take. This is your Christopher Mad Dog Russo moment. What are you mad about? Brought to you by Q the Woodshed. And one thing that we talked about, and this is something that you on a consistent basis talk about. And if you want to add stuff, to what are you mad about, you're more than welcome to. But one thing that's one to point it out is the message board talk. Because I know even before we started this whole podcast thing, you always talked about what the message boards were saying. They seem to be like the lifeline or the lifeblood of Spartan fandom, talking about different things,
Spartan
things that
fanatics.
the yeah
This is
that
the
the
really dredges of fandom with the hot takes.
yes, the dredges of fandom, the stuff you hear about on the news, whether it's local media or national media, whatever the case might be. But I know that you've always said that the fan, the on the message board talk, there's usually more woe is me, MSU sucks. Why is, the quarterback doing this? And we're not talking about just today. This has been throughout,
Oh, for
you know.
sure. I
So
don't know if there's another
what do
self-loathing
you,
fan
what,
base
yes,
as
yes.
affected Spartans. We eat our own a lot. But what am I mad about? Two things I'm mad about, and we've
Uh-oh.
already
Here we
touched on them a
go.
little bit. I don't understand the Aiden Childs, the hate. I'm off him. I'm done. You know, Peyton Thorne had way more leash than they're giving Aiden Childs, and I think this is also a product of losing.
Mm,
Aiden Childs had a solid game. Was it spectacular? Was it great? No, it was very, very solid. But people want more. And I can understand wanting more. I don't understand saying, well, he sucks. I'm like, I don't see that he sucks. I saw a lot of quarterbacks this weekend that looked very similar. And yes, there are some better. I saw a lot of starters who didn't look very good in their first games. We're talking about game one of a new season. And I hate to go back to the past, but it's the only thing I have reference for. 2013. We're coming off 2012, a disappointing season. 2013 versus Western. I'm at that game with
Oh
Dad.
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
We were there because that was it got rain delayed and everything. The offense was completely garbage. I believe the defense scored 2 touchdowns,
Yes, they
and
sure
we and,
did.
and the offense basically sputtered until we played Iowa, like game 4 or 5, and then we had some decent. So I have a little context. Eden Childs is good. Does he need to be better? Yes. He said he needs to be better. He's been saying like, okay, yeah, he can be better. The coaching staff says he can be better. Well, we also see him not. We've seen progress from him this season. I feel like this whole thing has been the progress has been overblown by the negativity towards the things that we've seen. And I said it earlier in this podcast. There was way more good things that we saw in this game than bad. But the bad in our minds stick out so much. You have to have people in the message board talking about Aiden Child sucks. He absolutely is not sucking. He is good, but he definitely has to show up more in production. He definitely has to be more of a playmaker. But to say you're starting quarterback who didn't have a bad game sucks is no. Let's not do that. You're eating our own. The fan base. That's to me. That's a step too far for me to go. Now we lose to Boston College, and he has 3 interceptions, and we go to at the Nebraska game. We get to the point where it's looking bad. Okay, we can have that conversation. But no, number two thing that's making me mad. That second half was complete ass, and it really infuriated me. And I've been trying to keep a level head about it, and I understand all the O line shuffling, all this other stuff. It didn't feel good. It didn't taste good. It didn't look good. And so that's what I'm going by as a fan. It did not give me the warm and fuzzies going forward. Some people say, I don't know, I don't know. I'm with them. I don't know. Like I'm positive I'm still high on this team. But that second half was it can't happen. We can't have that again and no points versus an overmatched squad. Like I can rationalize live it out, but how I feel, we got to see something versus Boston College. Like we absolutely have to. And yeah, I'm all about winning the game. 5-2 would be such a disappointment. I would feel like garbage.
It's
We
a
won.
baseball
I'm like, man,
score.
we're 2-0, but
Ah.
5-2, nasty.
Yeah, that'd be
So no,
that's a
those are two things.
baseball score.
Those are two things that what I'm mad about. I'm mad about the message board talk about Aiden Childs not being good. I think that's unfair for the moment. And two, that second half of the coaching staff, no. I don't want to hear the excuse of we lost focus. That can't happen. You're not supposed to be a hungry team. You're supposed to be a squad that, hey, we were better than 5-7 last year. You're supposed to have something to prove. Well, go out there and prove it, damn it. So that's what I'm mad
To-
about.
totally agree with you on both fronts there, broski. Both fronts. And when people talk about Aiden Childs, my question is, what other quarterback do you want? I mean, what other quarterbacks out there that you fantasize about that you will want to get to replace him?
You really want to know the truth, Ken? The biggest thing on the message board that people bring up constantly? Sam Levitt, the guy who's at Arizona State who left Michigan State. There, that name, that shit gets brought up consistently on the message board. Sam Levitt looking, he didn't want to be here. He didn't want to play for Jonathan Smith. So whatever you're fantasizing and fetishizing about, let's just not do that. It was not going to happen. So we need to
If
move
I
on from that.
remember, yeah, was he a Tucker recruit? Mel Tucker?
Yes, yes. He was a Tucker. He was on the team. He was a freshman that last season of a Tucker season, and he's from Oregon. And supposedly, at Oregon State, Jonathan Smith never gave him a look, and Sam Levitt said, "Well, I'm not going to play for a guy who didn't want to give me a look in my hometown state," and that's fair. and he left.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Arizona, he looks really good. He's supposedly being like mocked as a number, like a not number one, but as a first round draft pick QB. Okay, yeah, cool. He didn't want to be here. He's good. That's good for him. Good for his family. It's good for all parties involved.
Right.
I am okay where we're at.
I am
Because
too.
we're living in a fantasy land. So that's 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 one thing that gets brought up a lot, and that's super annoying to me.
Yeah, and that's super annoying in terms of like overall fandom that you see a quarterback who was here, and for whatever reason, if he didn't want to be here or saw a better opportunity and he shines elsewhere, okay, that's fine. I mean, that's what happens. And you have to go with what you have. And to me, I mean, I'm with you in terms of the Aiden Childs front that he's a good QB. He's still learning the ropes of that because let's not forget last year was his very first year as a starter. So, he's still growing into the position. And yeah, he probably can, as a starting QB, yeah, he can still, make some plays here and there, but is he complete ass? No.
No, and
So,
that's my point. Like, I understand the point of wanting Childs to be more of a playmaker. Cool, understandable, but I don't think he deserves to be in the category. Oh, he sucks. Like, well, no. Let's get through the season and evaluate that because we're one game in. I don't want to hear like your QB sucks one game in. Like we don't, as that's not enough data yet.
right. And let's bring this up too, Brian. I mean, we could have been like Northwestern and UCLA. They lost their opening games.
Yes.
So, I mean, what do you want? I mean, as much as we are bitching about MSU and rightfully so, they could look better. But trust me, if we would have lost against Western, oh, oh boy.
I'll say this too. I'll throw UCLA a bone. They did play Utah. Utah's traditionally a very solid team. So okay, Northwestern, no, they should lose to Tulane. Yeah.
Tulane. Yeah, buddy. Rolling like a big shot. So since we're talking about, and that was a very good take there, for your debut spot there, Broski. What are you mad about? So since we're talking about the Big Ten, we just talked a little bit about UCLA and Northwestern. We also get into our Big Ten segment now. We're not going to run through all because there's 18 themes, so we're not going to run through everything. We'll just point out
Yeah,
some
we're
of
not
the
talking
big
about
things here, especially
yeah.
the Ohio State. I mean, by far, they had one of the biggest games of the opening weekend against Texas. Outside of LSU and Clemson, that's probably those two games on Saturday probably the biggest games
Oh, Saturday
overall.
had Notre Dame and Miami was a big game.
Oh, okay, that was Saturday night.
And
I
by
thought that
and
was.
let me say no, I'm just saying for the first weekend,
Oh, okay,
just over
okay,
in
yeah,
general. But
yeah.
and those were all three good games too. Yeah. With
Oh,
Ohio
yeah, for
State,
sure, yeah, yeah,
obviously they gotta be
man.
the number they gotta be number one, right? Yeah,
Oh,
right,
yeah,
number
they are,
one
they are,
because
yeah, they are ranked number one. Penn State, they ran through Nevada as
of
expected. They're still
course.
at number two. Um, Oregon, they beat up on, I forgot who they played, but they're number six. Illinois is number 11. Now that's interesting that Illinois is right outside the top 10. That team down the road, they're number 15. They went down a spot, and Indiana went down three spots to number 23.
Indiana's an interesting one because they I didn't watch the game. I have to go back and look at it because I would like to at least watch, our opponents' games that we're gonna face. That score was a lot closer than I expected it to be, but again, first game, you don't know
Yeah.
what you're gonna get because they have a lot of mercenaries now, and you have to get them in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Indiana, by far, they're probably like mercenary number one in the Big Ten in
You gotta
terms
do
of
what you gotta
transfer
do.
portals.
They made the playoffs last year, so it worked for them. But let's Ohio State that that game. It's kind of a scary thing to see, because both those defenses, Ohio State, Texas, those are really good defenses. I know it's kind of sloppy, but it's the first game of the season. That quarterback for Ohio State saying, they didn't talk a whole lot. I know he's like a 5-star recruit and blah blah blah. He'd been kind of stashed away. Looked pretty good. Man,
Yeah, he did. I think he was with I think it was with Alabama if I remember.
I
I
think they
think he
recruited
was
him.
on the Ohio State
Are you
recruiting
sure?
him. I thought they said he was in Alabama's part of on their team last year or sometime. And I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but to your point, yeah, he looked pretty. I mean, he outplayed Arch.
It's Manning. And the Arch Manning is the latest victim. Backup who comes in, looks good occasionally. It's different when you're the man.
Yeah.
It's different when you're the guy, and it's different when everybody's game planning for you. Arch will probably be fine. He had a bad game, but my takeaway from that game was that State has a long way to go, and both those defenses looked very solid, very good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And Sand looked very competent, looked very calm under pressure. He did what he's supposed to do, got the ball to his playmakers, and they won. And it was only 14-7, but listen, that's a huge victory to start, defense of your national championship. And as
Oh
far as I'm
yeah.
concerned, until otherwise, the Big Ten goes to Ohio State. We know the other squads out there; they'll get their shot. But
Mm-hmm.
OSU number one right now. The Penn State did
Yeah.
what they were supposed to do, take care of business. Oregon took care of business. It's hard to judge the rest of the Big Ten because Ohio State's like the only one that played like a real team.
Yes.
Everybody else we've mostly
Yeah.
played like cupcakes and MAC schools, and half the Big Ten struggle versus those MAC schools. But
Yes.
it very
I was
interesting.
impressed by I was very impressed by Ohio State's defense. I mean, that
I
I
know
was
we
like,
hate Matt
wow.
Patricia around these parts, but yeah, he
Oh
put
yeah.
something together for him.
Yeah, he did. He did. Yeah, he just can't step back and stay in Michigan. But
And
yeah. Yeah.
so with that team
So,
down the road,
yeah, that team down the road, boy, Mr. Bryce Underwood.
he looked good. I mean, I watched part of the game. Bryce looked good. He looked good for a true freshman. I New Mexico is a good sparring partner for a true freshman to go out there on a Big Ten squad and then put up numbers against. He threw some really good passes. I know there's some picks that could have been made, but they didn't happen. So I that's where I'm at on that squad right now with Bryce. Their defense, first game,
Yeah.
give
Yeah,
17
they looked a
points to a
little
complete
yeah, they
bottom
looked a
feeder.
little yeah, they looked a little suspect there.
Yeah, and then, Michigan's in a interesting spot. They have a big game coming up versus Oklahoma. They're not expected to. They have no expectations for them. Like the expectation is for them to lose. So if they lose, well, they're supposed to lose. If they win, man, they won. They look good. And I feel
Right.
like for Michigan
Let's
State,
get
it's like, well, we're like, man, we gotta. We're damn near, and most of the fan base's agreement. This is a must-win game for Michigan State versus Boston College, and it doesn't mean anything in the long term. It just short
right.
term feel good. Because if you win, you were supposed to win. If you lose, just means you suck.
Time for Jonathan
So
Smith
we're
to
like,
pack his bags.
hey, whew. And if they lose to Boston College, I cannot say I can excuse me, I can say with certainty that thought and that phrase will come up my mouth. Jonathan Smith should be fired. Yeah, and I'll get over that because it's one game ultimately. But that's how I would feel if we lose to Boston College that night. I can tell you that
Hmm.
100% certainty.
Yeah.
But
Oh
we're
yeah.
gonna win. I'm gonna keep positive mind. We're gonna win.
We're gonna win because we got to. Yeah, I watched a
Hopefully.
little bit. I flipped between um Michigan, New Mexico, and LSU and Clemson. And the parts that I saw from the Michigan game, and I think you kind of pointed this out too, Brian, is that to me, it looks like it's a continuation offensively from what they were doing under Harbaugh when they had
Oh
JJ
yeah.
McCarthy.
They
We're
would like to
gonna,
just run the ball,
yeah, we're gonna run
easy
the
quick
ball,
throws.
easy, quick throws. We're not gonna do anything too fancy, but the defense probably gonna be the strength of that team again. And if the defense forces all these 3-and-outs or for some turnovers, we're gonna run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, occasional pass.
I mean, with and also
Like,
and I hate defending these guys, but for if you have a freshman QB, true freshman QB, running the ball and controlling the game is probably your best bet. You know, we're gonna see they're gonna learn a lot about Bryce when they go versus Oklahoma, and we don't know about Oklahoma, so it's a wash. But I'm rooting. I'm rooting for Oklahoma. I'm put those colors
of
on, and
course, of course.
I I I think Bryce is pretty cool, but I'm not rooting for his squad. Rooting for that L.
Of course. That's what we do here in the land of green and white. So,
And we'll,
other than that,
we'll we'll have to expound on our Big Ten section because it's hard to get it's so hard to get a feel week one. Most Big Ten squads won. I think only UCLA and Northwestern lost.
yeah, the only two
So
teams that lost.
once we get to some playing some real teams, we could talk a little bit more about the squads. Ohio State, they get the gold star. They played a real team. They played a team that in Texas, to be clear, they looked good too. The offense looked a
Oh,
little
yeah, they
herky
did.
jerky here and there, but their defense looks legit.
Yeah,
And so right now, like I said, we're living this Ohio State's Big Ten until some other team comes in and presses
right.
me.
Yep, until James Franklin beats him. Not
Sure,
according to me. Not according to me. This is according
it's
to all the Big
possible.
Ten writers. This is according to all the Big Ten writers from Big Ten Media Day back in July.
It
They're
could
the ones
happen.
that picked Penn State. Well, to me,
I
I
got
gotta
to see it
see
to
it.
believe with that
I
one.
gotta see
Yeah,
it.
okay, I got to see it.
I gotta
Yeah,
see it.
James got beat those
I gotta
allegations
see
of
it.
a big time game choker, but
Right.
I'm not against it. I've suffered my tone versus Penn State in the last few years.
Yeah, buddy, because they've been whooping our ass for the last couple years. So
I mean, who has it? That's not that wasn't you know. I love Michigan State, but our squad beating Michigan State doesn't mean what it used to mean like 10 years ago. It's like okay, yeah, it's the dub on the schedule we need to get through. That's where we're at right now. I don't think teams like we fear playing the Spartans. They're going to come in and get a tough game. Like no, not right now. We're not. I don't think we've earned a reputation back at all.
yeah, not yet. Not yet, but hey, it's a long season. We'll see what happens.
We want to know.
1-0, that's all that matters. Gotta get to 2-0. So on that note, got another fun football fact for you here, broski. So hope you're ready for this one here. I think it's a nice little bomb off the drop on you. So the question is, how many times has MSU won their game opener? You have a choice of 88 times, 93 times, or 99 times. How
I'm gonna
many
go
times
99
has MSU
C.
won their game opener? You
Going
say
C
C.
99.
Well, and the shout out to Lee Corso. Not so fast, my friend. And The answer is 88.
88. So what was that A?
88. Yes. Yes. When I looked up this little football fact here, yes, MSU has won their season opener 88 times, and they've lost 37 times in their 100 plus years of playing college football. So
Uh-uh.
their record is 88-37 in game openers.
Okay, okay. Gotta get. I'm gonna
So
get the next one right. I'm 0-2 right now. I'm gonna get the next one right.
0-2, baby. 0-2. I'm gonna continue to stump you as the season progresses here.
Okay.
So as they say, that's it, my friends. Another podcast in the books. Cue the woodshed here. Make sure you check us out on all our social media links, TikTok and Facebook, Instagram. You can also catch us on Spotify, Amazon Prime, YouTube. So, we have a lot of different places where you can check us out at. Make sure you get at us. We love to, respond to, social media here. I did get some good feedback on some of the TikTok things I posted. As a matter of fact, just to let the fan base know out there, I started a little something. I started a little something on TikTok talking about Aiden Childs versus Bryce Underwood. I said Aiden Childs is better than Bryce. You know, so some of the cookouts I went to over the Labor Day weekend, they was like, I saw that post. No, he ain't.
Yeah.
Bryce is better than Aiden. And like, okay, get out of here.
Well, they get to prove it on the field. Yeah. We'll see over the course of the season.
Yes, we'll see over the
We'll
course of the
see.
season, but anyway, so once again, cue the woodshed. I'm Ken, the super cool Spartan. My brother Brian, the super mad Spartan. We out of here. Peace and love. Go green.
Go white.